My father spent his 20s surfing in Brazil, where I'm from. Marriage and children were not part of his plans. Then one night, he had this vivid dream about a little girl with a massive curly hair. When he woke up, he knew that someday he would have a daughter. He always said that I was part of his destiny. We were very close my entire childhood. When I was 11, he took me on a trip to Europe. He booked a sleeper car. I had the top bunk. It was fun eating in the dining car. And at our stops, he would act out stories about what we were seeing. It was one of the best weeks of my life. When our family went through some difficult times, he was my best friend, the person I counted on for everything. He supported my decision to leave Brazil and study in the US. After I became a Muslim, many of my friends and even some family turned their backs on me, but he stood by me. Always my rock. He was the best father. When he was diagnosed with cancer, I wanted to leave school and be with him. But he kept reassuring me that he was doing well, getting better, and we even made plans for another big trip, just like the one we took when I was young. I never knew how sick he really was. I was 5,000 miles away when he died. I didn't even get the chance to say goodbye. When the person you love is gone, could be because of a breakup, a long absence, or death, it leaves you feeling adrift and alone. For a long time now, I've felt lost. And worst of all, my faith has been shaken. So I've been going to a weekly gathering with Muslim friends for prayer and reflection at Harvard Divinity School, where I'm a student. I've always found prayer very healing in all the 3 different ways that I've prayed. I was born Catholic. When I was 12, my mother converted to Judaism, and then from then onwards, I was raised in the Jewish tradition. Later, as an adult, I learned about Islam. I love its emphasis on social justice. I like the rituals, the fasts, the pilgrimages, the way the daily prayer engages the whole body. And I appreciate that Islam expresses itself not as a rejection, but as a continuation of the monotheistic tradition of Judaism and Christianity. Being a Muslim just feels like a natural step in my spiritual journey.
So I'm gonna start.
I also cherish the sense of community I feel with this group. They were there for me when I really needed the help. When I found out about my dad, I remember texting Ali John, and he just answered, "We're coming." And I didn't know what we meant, and I certainly didn't know that we meant 30 people who all came, who dropped everything just to sit in my tiny living room, who could not fit everyone, praying with me while I figure out my tickets to go plan my father's funeral, while I cried. As I talked again about receiving that terrible news, they saw that even months later, I was still struggling. And when I shared that hardly a day had passed that I didn't break down crying, they sent me on a quest. There are stories from the Islamic tradition of other people who have loved and lost. They said I might find what I need by exploring some of them. Of course, they would suggest doing research. After all, we're a bunch of graduate students. So for the last several months, I've been searching some of these stories for the answers to the questions we all ask. What is love? Why does it end? How can we make love endure? What can we learn from Islam's greatest stories of love? The first love story I explored was a tale about two teenagers, a girl named Layla and a boy called Majnun. It's a very old story originally from Arabia. It was part of the oral tradition of Arabic poetry, retold around campfires long before Islam. But though its origins aren't Islamic, it has inspired centuries of Muslim poets, artists, writers, and philosophers to look to it to explore the meaning of love. So I decided to start there. The story still excites imaginations all over the world, from Morocco to India, Turkey to Azerbaijan. There are films, annual festivals, and live performances celebrating it. But I discovered that I could find it much closer to home. In 2016, the renowned dance choreographer Mark Morris collaborated with Yo-Yo Ma and the Silk Road Ensemble for a dance presentation of this story.
The stories are very well known. You can pick up any of these books, and they're thrilling and beautiful. They're Bollywood movies that are on this story, and I found online, of course, full productions of this piece. The production is so interesting and so strange. So I thought, well, this is really kind of fabulous. So I agreed to take on this piece, and really, it turned out to me to be sort of miraculous in the way that this show worked. You know, people just sort of glibly call it the Romeo and Juliet of Islam or something like that, which it's not.
This clip is from our latest PBS film, Islam's Greatest Stories of Love, premiering August 22nd, 2025. Check the description for details, and please subscribe to help us bring more stories like this to life.